Alexa, accept call.
You received a call from an inmate at the Department of Corrections. This call will be recorded and monitored.
Well, hello, Miss Lakeisha. How are you today? Oh, yeah, the weather has been fantastic. I have no complaints. Really? Well, so that's why I haven't heard from you in a while. You know, I really don't like that idea of them blocking you from sending out your e-messages and blocking you from making phone calls. That punishes your daughter, and it punishes you, and it punishes your loved ones. It doesn't make any sense. I'm sure they could come up with something better than that. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely correct. I agree. And another good thing though is they're not making any money off of you when you can't make any telephone calls. Yeah, that is a downside on their side, but for you, that just sucks. I really feel bad for you. And well, did you actually deserve the infraction? Did you do something bad? Oh, yeah, you and your temper. Sometimes, your daughter needs to be able to talk to you. If somebody's talking smack. Okay, welcome to another episode of AQS Inmate Call. I am your host, Joel Wilborn. Now that call, every once in a while, anybody who has a loved one locked up knows that some of the calls get interrupted before they are completed. In this particular case, it kind of worked out for me because while I was in the middle of my podcast, I got a call from an inmate, which interrupted my call. And on occasion that happened, I'll be talking to somebody and then somebody else will call. And I really want to talk to my fiance because she doesn't call just the chit chat. Most of her calls, she's concerned about something. Could be a health issue, or she wants me to look up something, or she's just not feeling very, very enthusiastic, and she's feeling kind of down and just wants to talk to me. And if I'm talking to one of my loved ones, and she calls in, I don't really know it's her until I hang up. And I feel bad about hanging up on the person who wants to talk to me. So having multiple people across the United States in prison can have its downside, And so, but one thing I do notice that we had in this call with Lakeisha is that she got into a fight with another inmate. And she received an infraction, and her infraction was that she had lost the use of her JPay account and her phone. So she wasn't able to call her daughter. And when she was able to call her after the infraction was over, her daughter was very angry at her. Why didn't you call me? And I wanted to talk to you, and I had some things that happened at school. And Lakeisha really felt bad about that, so it, before the end of the conversation, she was saying that her daughter was very upset with her, and she doesn't deny that the infraction was justified. It's just that why would penal institutions use blocking loved ones? It's just imagine growing up that you're in your parents' home and you break one of the rules. Let's say they tell you that you need to do your chores before you can watch TV, and you don't do that. You skip your chores. So they come in and, hey, you didn't do your chores. You didn't take out the trash. And you come up with some excuse or something. And their punishment is that you don't talk to them. I don't know. I don't know how is that supposed to positively make a point? And this is something that just goes beyond acceptable, I would say. Maybe they can't, I don't know. I guess they could probably confine them to the room or something, or cut back on their gym time, or maybe even charge them a fine. But restricting them from calling their loved ones, I don't know. One of the reasons that people are in prison is to help them to overcome their the things that set them back. You know, their bad feelings of life, or their reasons for committing crimes. There could be a multitude of reasons why they're in there. And the prison system is supposed to help them to get the life that they've been looking for, overcome these obstacles and become a better person, and live the life that they've always wanted to live instead of being locked up in prison all the time. And we're treating prison as the low point in their life, when that's not what it is. There's things in their life that's causing conflict, things that it's difficult for them to handle. And we all know that rehabilitation doesn't work. Supportive relationships do work. You know, if a person's sitting in prison feeling all bad about the things that he's done, you know, because not all prisoners feel that they're innocent and that they don't deserve to be there. A lot of them are sitting in there thinking, yep, I messed up, I got caught, and here I am. And then let's say they get a letter from a brother that they haven't heard from in a few years. Okay, that could really change things. That could be... That could make a world of difference to their well-being. Now, I know my fiance, before we met, she was doing very well. She had a job. She was in recovery. So she was setting illegal drugs aside, out working, trying to reach the life that she so richly deserved. And then she got a phone call that her mother had died. And she was very close to her mother. Loved her very dearly. And to get that call was just devastating. You know, it was just a shock to her. Makes her sit down and try to take it all in. And for a lot of addicts, the best way to cope with a very devastating news item or a shocking revelation or something is through getting high. So, of course, that one bad deed leads to another one. So she got high, got back into the bad life that she was trying to get away from, and wound up in prison. So maybe, you know, if she hadn't gotten that call, it could have worked for her. Or maybe if she was in prison. Because the one thing I did notice about her is after that incident, and then she got convicted and put in prison, the father of her 2 sons died. And she got the word of that while she was in there. Now, being in prison made it easier for her to cope because she had people in there that she could talk to. Except there is drugs available in prison. She could have gone back to that. But she had a network of people that she could lean on. And I often think, what if I had been there when her mother died? Would she have been able to call me and talk to me and work through this? I don't know. And she doesn't know either. There's really no way of answering that question unless and until it does happen. And there's something that just kind of pops to my mind every once in a while. But the true answer, I would say, would be there's nothing I could have done. It's just like people who commit suicide. We think if there was something I could have done or someplace I could have taken them, I could have prevented this. So once their mind is set on it, there's really nothing that could stop them. And so some things you just got to accept. It's really no point in putting the blame on anybody. And she was put in prison because she just could not cope with that terrible news. And being in prison and getting another set of news, bad news dropped on her, the big difference was she did have me there. She did have her family there, and she wasn't running away. When you're out and you're addicted, you tend to hide. You want to get away from society. And one of my loved ones, she said, because I would talk to her on a regular basis, then she just disappeared. And then when she got arrested and put in jail, and she called me, I said, okay, so you're back in prison, or you're back in jail. What happened this time? Why didn't you talk to me? And she says, well, I got high, and I had relapsed. So I didn't want anybody to know. I was too embarrassed. So a lot of the addicts, they'll just kind of run and hide. And the very people that they should be talking to and should be leaning on and should be seeking guidance from aren't there. In prison, it's easy to pick up the phone and reach the person, or the person could send out an e-message. What's going on? Well, I haven't heard from you in a while. And at least you know where the person is. At least you can do something rather than just sit around and just wonder. And my fiance, she was able to reach out to me. She was able to reach out to her family, and I was able to reach out to him. And I don't know if that helped. I can never really know for sure. But the fact that I could be there makes me feel good. And knowing that she got through this, that's got to give me some kind of consolation right there. Maybe it wasn't me. But at least this time, she was able to get through it without getting high and getting in trouble. She's still in the same unit. She still has her same good points. Things are working out for her. And she was able to get through another tragedy, this time a little bit better. And I told her, I said, you're never alone now. I will always be there for you. If you want to reach out, you want to talk. And she's happy to hear that. And I'm happy to be there for her. I can't fix her problems. I can't make her life better. That's all up to her. It's 100% her. All I can do is just be there. There's people out there, when they get out of prison, people want to control them. You need to be home at a certain time. You need to get a job. And this doesn't help because the person's trying to look for a little bit of freedom, a little bit of independence, self-reliance, confidence. There's a lot going through his mind. And to add more to it doesn't help. And we might wind up pushing the person away. And it's not fair to that person not to be able to give them a chance. So to block people away from talking to loved ones is beyond all measure. There's just no sense in it. So I'm hoping that people will reconsider something like that. I know companies that when they make phone calls or send e-messages, they're making money. I'd hate for a person to get up in the morning, go to work, and have the boss say, business isn't so well because the prison population is going down. We're going to have to lay you off. I know they don't want to hear that. But that would be fantastic news for those of us who have loved ones locked up. The prison system is laying people off, and their contractors are laying people off because the prison population is going down. What is so bad about that? But to think that there's companies that are happy that people are getting locked up and staying locked up for long periods of time, and they have to use their services, and they're making billions of dollars a year off of our pain and sorrow. And then to have the prison system use it to manipulate the loved ones and to manipulate the inmates. It just is beyond any reason. It doesn't make sense. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to contact your congressman or your legislators or your community leaders and get a discussion going. Let's see if we can stop the manipulation of supportive relationships in their contact. We need to work together to get people out and keep them out just by being there. We don't have to drop billions of dollars into it. We don't have to force them to live a lifestyle they're not happy with. All we have to do is just be there. If they do reach out and say, I need some help, be there for them. It's not asking a lot. And it's easy to give it to them. And it's not very expensive either. But we just need to get that discussion going. So I'm hoping those of you who have loved ones out there, you are keeping in contact with them. You are showing your support. You are in their corner. Even if they drop to the lowest level, you're there for them. You can't pull them out unless they reach up and ask for it. But just being there for them, that means a lot. And I've heard so many times of how happy people are just that we're there for them. We can do that. It's not that hard. Well, thanks again for listening to me, tuning in. Go out, have a wonderful day, and make fantastic memories for tomorrow.